Today's episode of Nerd Soup is sponsored by Hostinger. Click the link in the description box below and get up to 91% off yearly web hosting plans. Hostinger is quickly becoming one of the most trusted companies in web design. If you are looking to create your first website, Hostinger is the perfect solution. First-time personal creators can start with one of the affordable web hosting options, which comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Using Hostinger requires zero experience in web design, and any questions you may have can be answered by their 24/7 chat support, with no ticketing systems or waiting queues. For more advanced creators, Hostinger has 3 different business, cloud-based hosting plans that allow you to pay for the features and bandwidth that you need. It's easy to scale up or scale down whenever you need to. And for creators that already have websites, Hostinger makes it incredibly easy to move any of your existing domains over to their super fast servers, specifically domains that operate on WordPress, like our website, thenerdsoup.com. We recently transferred our domain to Hostinger in a matter of minutes, so now we take advantage of their fast servers. And remember, if you click the link in the description box below, you will get up to 91% off yearly web hosting plans. Own your identity today with Hostinger.
Speak.
Me?
Yeah.
You speak. You are in a bad mood, not me.
I'm not in a bad mood. I'm in a good mood.
Sounds like you're in a fucking bad mood.
You're the one with the angry tone.
You've been protesting all my cold openings. If it's not your cold opening, it's a no-go.
What are you talking about?
You are very anti-Teddy cold opening.
That's not true at all.
He brings us in. I'm there.
I know.
I'm always there.
We're on the same wave. I was going to stutter. We're on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
That was a tough thing.
Yeah, no, it's tough to say.
Yeah,
Wave
it's a big word.
and length. Whoever combined those two things, bastard.
Wavelength.
Well, now you just mastered it. What the hell was that?
I had to clear the throat after all those big words coming out there.
Yeah,
Sniffle.
That's tough,
I'm
man.
sweating right now.
Little Teddy's inside of your head are like, whoa, take it easy there.
Let's relax.
You just could grunt the rest
Bring
of the
it down a
review.
minute.
It's going to be all hums and sniffs.
See? I think that worked out well.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. On today's show, we are taking a step back to review Star Wars.
Yay.
Our Star Wars Revisited, going along with our Marvel Revisited. We have the new Star Wars Episode 9 coming out in December, so we thought we'd go all the way back to the beginning, 1999.
Are we biting off a lot right now?
Yeah, we're biting off a
With
lot.
Marvel and
Yeah,
Star
we've got
Wars.
like both cheeks filled right now, like Ed, and Eddie Jawbreakers.
No, we'll get to I don't know, the third Marvel movie and be like, yeah, maybe we should focus on Star Wars.
Yeah, at that point,
we're catching up to December here. But yeah, all the way back where it started. The first,
We're going to try.
The first movie ever. Wait.
No.
Well, I
it
figured
is, yeah.
1 to 9, that makes it.
Technically.
Yeah. We're
Chronological order.
suckers for a solid, straightforward timeline.
Not George Lucas.
I'll tell you what, they're lucky that they did 4, 5, 6 first.
Why?
If this was the first one they ever did.
Yeah, that is true. Well, if this came out in 77, people would have been like, whoa. This is
Whoa, let's step
incredible.
back.
Burn him. He's a fucking witch.
Yeah, seriously. What does he know that we don't? Yeah, but The Phantom Menace. And obviously this is a very, not necessarily a polarizing movie, but it's kind of the film that broke the Star Wars fandom. And it's funny, we look at the place we are now with The Last Jedi. We've gone through this before. And obviously we were all kids when this movie came out. So I don't think we didn't fully grasp how just divisive this movie was and how controversial it was.
I thought this movie was amazing until I was 12.
Deadass, I thought it was good until last night when we rewatched it.
You had no idea.
It is so bad.
You're like, all right, Star Wars Episode 1, the masterpiece.
Favorite
Jar
one.
Jar Binks, yeah, Tatooine.
The whole gang, lightsabers,
Little
Jedi,
Annie.
primetime life.
Little Annie?
That's the thing with I guess our generation. This was our introduction to Star Wars, and
Not me. True story, I saw the first Star Wars, A New Hope, in theaters in 1977 in Puerto Rico. They did the 20-year anniversary, first movie I saw in theaters. So
1977.
1997.
Okay.
I thought you said 77 too.
I did say 77.
Yeah, but you don't remember.
I do. No, that's one of my earliest memories. 4 years old? You have memories of 4 years old.
Not really.
I'm pushing 7.
Well, you were never a kid. And Ted, you don't remember what you had for breakfast, so.
I can't argue with that.
Well, like I was saying, this is
Your introduction.
Yeah, introduction to Star Wars.
Plebs.
And it's, there's countless videos on the internet dissecting this and breaking it down and pretty much just shitting on it, which,
Really?
Yeah.
I've never seen any of those.
No, they're out there.
When I found out that Jar Jar Binks was hated when I was like 10, wait a minute.
Yo, for real.
Seriously.
But for me, like, I obviously now I see all the negative parts of it, but you still have that nostalgia, and there are things that I know that aren't good that I still enjoy. And with this one, more than I would say Attack of the Clones, even though it's not a great movie, I can still have fun with it. We were having a blast just watching it and kind of like talking about it and just having
we
had little quips in there.
Yeah, we had a blast shitting on it while we were watching it.
Yeah, but then there's some parts
where,
we were doing. But when other parts come in, you're like, oh, I still like that. I like Darth Maul fighting Qui-Gon on Tatooine. I like that final meeting between all three of them. The pod racing.
Pod racing's great.
I find that enjoyable.
It is.
It's a little long, though. No?
It's very long, but the sound design is great.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, there's no music. The John Williams score doesn't come into the third lap, which is an interesting choice, but the sound design is incredible. The zooms.
Well, the documentary.
The cannons.
Imagine that in theaters. I just
Yeah,
think about that.
Sounds great.
The documentary, George Lucas was talking about how they kept cutting the sounds when they switched, I guess, the perspective on the pod race.
Right.
And he's like, no, keep that. I want it to be like,
Just want it to linger.
yeah, on the back, like it's going to go run over him or something like that.
There's a great video essay that Collider did. No, Shmo's No, where they analyzed the pod racing. And the way that it's shot from the perspective on the ground, it's very similar to like watching a NASCAR race. And that's kind of what he was going for. And people make jokes about the announcers, that he made it too much like an ESPN event.
She just got Boomer in there.
Yeah, just get Boomer and what was the other guy that he was with? Tom Jackson?
Yeah, Tej.
Whoop! Yeah, every time Anakin just passed somebody.
It seemed like he went for a lot of comedy in this one.
A lot
as
of
opposed to 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, a lot. That's one of the biggest problems is the tone. The tone is just all over the place in this movie. You have Qui-Gon, who's this very serious, stoic character who never jokes, and then there's Jar Jar Binks making fart jokes and Miss Appropriate. It's like right after somebody died.
Pretty good.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the first thing we'll talk about, Jar Jar Binks. He represents just the dichotomy of this movie. Just this innovative CGI motion capture performance. It's the first major supporting character to be fully animated, and he sucks. You know, he just kills all the momentum in this movie. He's not funny. He's annoying. Ahmad Best did his best, no pun intended, but that's what's so unbelievable about this character is that it's so innovative and revolutionary, but it's so bad.
It seemed like they just wanted to put him in just to show that they had the CGI.
No, that's it. But yeah,
was Phantom Menace one of the first ones to have this much CGI? Because it was a lot of CGI, no?
Yeah, oh yeah, and I think George Lucas criticized the sequel trilogy, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, for not taking leaps within the special effects and stuff like that. And this movie did. I mean, for the time, for 1999, it's 20 years ago. It still looks very good, but it's just too heavy on the CGI.
Like you said, it just cuts the momentum off every time he comes in and makes like a little quip or does something.
Yeah.
You'll have like 3 scenes back to back where they're all trying to convey a different emotion, whether it's sadness or happiness or a comedic moment, and it's just, I don't know, there's no real flow to it. And I feel like the pacing does struggle because I think it's, an hour and 20 minutes until we actually get to Coruscant.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Coruscant was like another half hour, 45 minutes of nothing, of political dialogue. That wasn't even that good either.
Well, I don't mind. Like we were talking about this on the last podcast, I think, just the trade routes, and that's like, I think there's a smart way to intertwine the politics and make it a political fantasy, but it just, I don't know, it just falls flat here.
Yeah, politics has always been a major part of Star Wars. The original trilogy was based on the Vietnam War, but yeah, with this, there's like 4 scenes where they're sitting in a circle having board meetings about these trade routes and the political battle that they're having in the Senate when she calls for a vote of no confidence and Chancellor Valorum. What is going on here? And it's very clever with Palpatine. I mean, Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine is one of the standouts in this movie and moving forward, especially in Revenge of the Sith. And his political maneuvering in the shadows is pretty brilliant. He's like the Littlefinger of Star Wars. But it's just the way that it plays out. It's so boring and dull. And that's one thing you can never say about the original trilogy. It was always interesting, even in the slow moments, because we were being introduced to the world on Tatooine. C-3PO and R2-D2 wandering through the desert. This in Phantom Menace on Tatooine feels like forever. This feels like a 3-hour movie.
Well, yeah. Palpatine, what is he? He convinces the Trade Federation to go to Naboo, which forces...
Is that legal? I will make it legal.
Which forces Amidala to, and convinces her to do a no confidence because of that situation,
right.
basically.
He's pulling all the strings.
Yeah.
He basically got himself elected.
In reality, does he want her to sign that treaty?
Well, no, he's on both sides. He's pulling both strings. So whatever happens, has his fingers in.
Yeah, he just wants conflict. Yeah, he got the conflict between Newt Gunray, and that's another thing controversial about this movie: the accents. Newt Gunray and the Trade Federation. I wonder if 100 years from now, people are going to look back on Phantom Menace and be like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Like for us, it's like, okay, that was a misfire, but maybe society gets even more progressive, and they're like, "We got to cut that out. Just cut the voices, make it subtitles."
Like you were saying, like they had the ball rolling. Like you just had the pod racing, you had that big lightsaber fight, and then you get to Coruscant, and it's like it just deflates the whole movie.
Yeah, a lot of that. There's a lot of momentum killing moments throughout this movie. But yeah, I mean, the pod racing is great. But yeah, once you get to Coruscant with the introduction to Anakin to the council, that stuff is kind of interesting. It's the first time you see Yoda. That must have been a big moment for people, fans of the original, seeing Yoda.
Well, there's so many times during this movie, it's like if I grew up with the original trilogy and went to the theater for the first time and watched this movie, there were so many like, oh, is that C-3PO?
Oh, C-3PO, yeah.
Do you think you guys wouldn't like the movie if you saw 4, 5, 6? Like on initial viewing, when you saw you saw 4, 5, 6 growing up on it, and then you see 1.
I feel like people liked it at first, right?
Yeah, a lot of people lied to themselves.
Yeah.
Said it was good. A lot of the hardcore, I mean, if you follow Collider and Jedi Council, a lot of those hardcore Star Wars fans, they were younger. They were in like their 20s when this came out. And Ken Knapsack, big Star Wars guy, saw it 7 times in theaters and didn't realize until the 7th time. This is pretty bad. So, I mean, it happened with even The Last Jedi, where I felt like something was off with the movie, but I wanted to like it more than I actually did. And I think with certain franchises, that happens because you're just so invested in things other than the movies. So when the big event comes out, how can you not like it, you know? So I think there was a case of that with Phantom Menace.
There's no way it's going to be a disappointment.
Definitely. When you look at the reactions of people coming out of the theaters, everybody's seen Shaq?
Yeah, Shaq.
Shaq loved it.
I think it was an excellent movie. I think Mr. Lucas did a fabulous job. Special effects were wonderful, and the storyline was wonderful. And we'll probably come back and watch it a couple more times.
You know where I was torn was with Anakin, because I would love to know his story, but the kid acting was just so bad. I wish they would have just started when he was older, because the next movie, what is he, like 18, 19?
Yeah,
like
he's a young adult.
Just give him older and then have him pod race maybe when he's older.
Well, yeah, a lot of people have made that point that it shouldn't have been a kid actor. That teenage Anakin would have been the better move. You could have gotten a better. They could have casted a better child actor for that role. I think in the document.
A better adult one too.
A better. That is true. They kind of missed it. They misfired him. Like, don't worry, he's an adult now. I think there was rumors that Christian Bale was considered, and even Leonardo DiCaprio. That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Christian Bale especially, but the writing, I mean, it doesn't get better from here. But poor Jake Lloyd, everything that he's gone through.
Yeah,
it's not good.
It's a shame, but
once again, he's got George Lucas writing for him and directing him. George Lucas isn't going to get the best performance out of a child actor, no matter how good he is.
A lot of the problems came from the writing and the script.
Pacing, very generic problems with this movie.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with the original trilogy, we know he's capable, but I think it's a case of having a great idea, hitting it out of the park the first time, now trying to go back and kind of make a new idea while connecting it with his original trilogy. And it just kind of, you're trying to implement all this new technology and different things, new characters for kids, and it didn't feel like the original trilogy.
I bet the money had to have played a factor.
I think they said in a documentary, like the original had $50 million, but then I think it went up to $115 million.
Yeah, and it's also the case of he self-funded this movie, and he did the same thing with the original trilogy. He had that much money from the merchandising that he became a billionaire, and he had nobody to answer to. Usually you have a producer or from a studio that's, like a Feige or a Kathleen Kennedy. He didn't have that, so he was allowed to do anything he wanted. And it's also a matter of, it was 16 years since he last made a film. So I think some of that rust comes off in Revenge of the Sith, where you're like, oh, this is George Lucas knows how to make a movie, because I think Revenge of the Sith is very good. And I wouldn't even say it's underrated now, because people are starting to appreciate it. Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the problems with this movie come down to just the way that he directs it. I mean, the pacing is off, the set designs, like you said, I think you were going to make the point that it's too bright. There's no grit to this Star Wars universe. It feels like a play. Like we're watching a movie being made.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like the B-roll footage that they just threw together.
I couldn't stop thinking of Spaceballs watching it.
Yeah.
Stop thinking of it.
No, seriously. It's kind of got some of that Spaceballs vibes, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. I think they do. It does get, I think, shot a little better throughout the trilogy.
Yes.
I think it's David Tattersall, who also did Green Mile and Triple X State of the Union.
Right. So he's got quite the resume.
Yes.
No, to go off of what you said, how he wanted to implement more characters, I saw an article that I couldn't agree with more, and it said that this movie was made to pretty much push products and toys. The pod racing, I saw to sell video games.
Video game was fucking sick.
I think George Lucas, I don't think this was like a money grab where it was like, I'm going to implement all these things I think that kind of came after the fact. I think
it makes sense though if you think about it.
Yeah, but in a way, these ideas, if they were implemented in a different way, like if Jar Jar Binks was this badass Gungan warrior that, he spoke a different language.
Sith.
Right, that became it. Like he helped Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fight. He was a skilled fighter. He was a warrior, but he was also lovable. And maybe he was a bit goofy. Mm-hmm. That character would have worked perfectly, but that's just not what it was. And I don't think that was an intentional appeal for children, because Revenge of the Sith is not a kids movie at all. It was the first PG-13 film. I think he just, he's just not a great writer. He had a lot of great ideas. That's what they always say about the prequels. Conceptually, they're brilliant, but the execution...
Having no pushback, too. You said
But like, is Darth
Maul... It was all himself?
Yeah.
Like, having no pushback, that's got to play a role. Because in your head, what you're thinking you're putting out is fucking gold. And you got no second opinions, man. I mean, if it sucks, and you got no one to tell you that, like what the hell? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, you're gonna tell George Lucas that this is not good.
Yeah,
who's gonna be that person?
Well, everyone around him during the making is like, oh, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, yes, man.
It's Spielberg on. It's like, oh, that's gonna be great.
Gold, put it out now.
Well, that's the thing. He asked Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis to direct this because he acknowledges that he's not the best director or writer. That he's better as a producer. He's a story guy. And they all said no. They didn't want to take on that task of ruining Star Wars. And then he was like, fine, if you don't want to ruin it, I'll just ruin it.
Fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, I'll do this myself.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
There are still some good things with the film, I think, that I enjoy. I think Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan for certain are two of my favorite characters, their relationship. All the lightsaber fights, I think, while over-choreographed, they're fun to watch.
I like the over-choreograph, though, because it looks so smooth. It doesn't look bad.
Well, the best moment in that Darth Maul fight is when Obi-Wan is getting hyped up after Qui-Gon is killed. And the choreography there was so smooth. Obi-Wan's footwork.
Well, I like when they get separated by like the laser walls, and Darth Maul, like Qui-Gon goes on his knees like meditating, Darth Maul's like going back and forth. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
Once this shit gets
up,
I'm
God, let this thing stop right now. On God.
It's a great representation of the relationship between Sith and Jedi.
Right.
The calm, trying to keep his composure, and Darth Maul is just ready to scrap. Darth Maul, he was underused in this movie, but the design of the character, he became an icon.
I think he was the best part.
Yeah, I mean the double-sated lightsaber. There was a lot of innovation in this for the lore of Star Wars. The double-sated lightsaber, the design of the character, the horns, the red and black skin. He was an interesting character.
He's the embodiment of a Sith. That's what I would think a Sith would look like.
Yeah, and I think one of the problems of the prequel trilogy is that there are no main characters. There's just a cast, and the focus kind of shifts around. This movie should have been focused more on Qui-Gon and Darth Maul, and they should have kept Palpatine as the Phantom Menace more in the shadows rather than giving him as much screen time as they did, because Darth Maul is underused.
And obviously Duel of Fates is probably one of the best scores from the entire Star Wars saga.
Which one is that? Oh, okay. Wow, yeah.
Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Might be the best casting for a younger version of a character. The dude looks like the young Alec Guinness. The way that he's speaking, he's obviously channeling Alec Guinness, and his performance throughout the whole prequel trilogy is really the standout. And apparently he's coming back for a Obi-Wan show.
Yeah, and one last thing, on that last whole final culmination of the film, they didn't have to, you had the great fight, the lightsaber battle between our two Jedi and our Sith, and then they cut to Jar Jar doing his who's the general now, against the clones, and he's basically all over the place. Then you go to the space battle. It's just jumbled up where I feel like you could have extended the focus on the actual duel and
You needed
didn't
those two scenes.
You didn't have to cut as much.
You didn't need the whole Gungan battle with the droids.
Yeah.
You didn't need that at all.
That I mean, all that, it's just a
I
mess.
hated that scene.
It's so much. It's so messy.
Well, you have 4 different
There's so much going on.
storylines intertwining with each other. You have the Padme thing, then you have the fight, then you have the space battle, and you have the battle outside.
Oh, then you have Anakin. Anakin
What's
accidentally
this button do?
destroying the command center for the
Let's
droids.
turn
like,
left. What if he was just blowing up the wrong side, you know? Kid's just lucky. It's the Force. Use the Force, Anakin.
That's not how the Force works.
That's not how the Force works. Keira Knightley? What was that?
What, with the whole
She's the
switcheroo?
decoy. I don't know.
Padme.
Does she have authority to make some of these decisions? She straight up just
old is
replaced the
she?
chancellor of the entire republic.
I'm sure
She just had
Padme
the president impeached.
Padme shadow.
So she's the Phantom Menace behind Keira Knightley?
Yeah.
Qui-Gon to me is a very uninteresting character as well.
In the movie, no, but I think everything surrounding him is kind of like, well, he's like this.
He's supposed to be a maverick.
Yeah, this badass Jedi, but he's not on the council yet
Yeah.
because he's differing views, and he's into
too
prophecy, and he's the one that finds out about the Force Ghost, right?
Right,
Doesn't
yeah,
he?
yeah.
So I feel like they didn't really explore any of that, but the character itself, when you dig in deeper into his life and what he's all about, it is a very interesting character.
And he throws his weight behind Anakin. He's like, listen, Yoda, I know you want to kill this kid. That's when Anakin first runs in, I'm like, kill him, kill him, kill him. But Qui-Gon, they're like, you can't see that this kid is going to grow up to be a psychopath?
I firmly think that Qui-Gon was in on it. He's in on it with Palpatine.
He's the Phantom Menace.
He is holy shit.
This guy can't sense the dark side for shit, man.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I don't sense anything.
No, Obi-Wan's like, I sense the presence of something evil. Qui-Gon's like, shut the fuck up, Obi-Wan.
What did I tell you when we got here? don't talk.
I like when the kids are making fun of Anakin. And I like to think that like fostered in the back of his brain. Somebody killed those younglings.
He's like, this is for Kitster.
Yeah.
This is for Kitster doubting me.
This is for you making fun of my pod.
Yeah. Well, actually, Kitster was on his side. It's working. I think one of the reasons that I always go back to these movies, though, and why I do enjoy them, beside from just making fun of them and making quips, and it's just cool to see the Jedi in power. It's cool to see the Jedi Temple, the way that they interacted with the Republic, the way that they got involved with the politics and with the impending war that would come throughout the next 2 movies. It's just cool to see. It's cool to see the Jedi. Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu, and just adding to that lore, because it's probably something that people thought they would never see when Obi-Wan talks about how they kept the peace for 1,000 generations. It was nice to get a taste of that, and I think that's why I always enjoy going back to them, because it's the only place besides the animated series that you can actually see them at their full power. So that's always fun for me.
Is there only 2 Siths? They said there's a apprentice and a master.
That's
like,
the
is there
rule,
only
but
2 dark side?
They always break it, because at the time Plagueis was still alive, so there were basically 3 Sith. Plagueis was Palpatine's master. Well, I think that's why we wanted to see in the sequel trilogy more. We wanted to see Luke training new Jedi.
Yeah.
That's what we thought we were going to get. Let's see the next generation. Let's see how they try and do this again.
Well, it's like if they do like a Knights of Old Republic, and there's just fucking. I don't want to see like full out like shit ton of Sith, shit ton of Jedi just going at it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of lightsaber fights in the sequel trilogy as well. We didn't even get lightsaber on lightsaber in The Last Jedi.
No, we didn't. It's a shame.
You think Anakin's like, why are all these old men creeping on me?
Yeah.
Qui-Gon, take him to Coruscant, and then it's Palpatine. We'll watch your career with great interest.
Yeah, I bet you will.
He's like, I need an adult that's not a creepy old man.
He had to have felt that, right? That he was like crazy strong.
Oh,
with
yeah,
the Force.
Palpatine. Well, they say that Palpatine created Anakin, right?
Yeah.
Was it him or Plagueis? In canon, it's him, right?
I think so.
He's a dad?
He manipulated the midichlorians and...
Another thing, midichlorians,
creepy.
it's not a big deal. I never got why people got so upset about it. I guess I know it takes like the mystery and wonder out of it, but
The mystery and wonder of what, being a Jedi and how...
yeah, how the Force works and stuff like that. And they
Yeah, the Force is like very spiritual. The way that Yoda talks, it binds us. It, it goes through every living thing. And then they made it scientific with the midichlorians, but they didn't make it that scientific. It's like they're little microorganisms, and that's how it works. There's a symbiotic relationship between us and the midichlorians. It's like the fluoride of the Star Wars universe.
kind of poetic.
Yeah. All right, yeah, scores. So how would you guys rank this, 1 through 10?
That's
Unless
tough.
you want to go 0.
Don't be afraid.
No, it's definitely not a 0 for me.
You will be.
It's probably my second. I think it's probably the second worst of all of them. But I still, like I said, I enjoy it. A lot of nostalgia there. But like a 5.3 maybe, 5 around there.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'll give it a 5.5.
Yeah, I would go lower. I would go 4.5.
It probably is, but there's a lot that I just hang on to that is like, oh, well, I like that last fight, so that's a 5. I can't go under a 5 for me.
Well, I can't go under a 5. It's just Star Wars, and I love Star Wars regardless.
Attack of the Clone score?
Yeah.
We're talking 2s, 3s. Yeah. Ooh.
Attack of the Clones, that had the Yoda fight, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Hey, really?
Yeah, that might bump
That's
it
not
up.
bumping up to
That might bump it up to an 8, actually. Yoda scrapping?
Yo, he was nice, man.
Hey guys, thank you for watching this video, and of course we would like to thank our Patreon supporters. Without you guys, Nerd Soup wouldn't be Nerd Soup. Seriously, your support is what keeps the fridge full, so thank you once again for your support. If you are interested in supporting Nerd Soup through Patreon, visit our page and check out the different rewards we offer to our fans. If not, then no problem. We appreciate anyone who takes time from their day to watch our videos. So thank you to each and every one of you out there watching, and remember to like and share this video. And hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like it. Or don't.